Hello everyone, good morning. I welcome you all for the today's session on QA Essentials. Hope some of them have a QA background or it is always good to learn if you are planning to transit from the non-IT or from one of the IT background to the QA one who is planning for the joining the QA role. So this plays a major part as a part of QA documentation in the testing process. So let's begin. So let's see what is this QA documentation about. So this documentation, it's a comprehensive documentation which includes all the set of instruction details and the information about the testing process from the beginning of the testing phase to the end or the conclusion of the testing process. So we ensure all the steps are captured here and all the information regarding the testing has been included in this comprehensive document. And this also plays a major role in verifying the quality of the software because each information, whatever we have mentioned, is clearly documented as a part of testing, and it meets an client expectations here. And it's also important that documentation is transparent and also traceable. So it also helps all the team members to be on the same page and to ensure being of transparency. It helps the team members to ensure if all the task has been completed related to the testing has been clearly documented, and if there are any blocker or an impediment that is mentioned in the document to know for the clients in order to ensure what is the mistake or the detail of the testing process. So it builds and trust with the software testing process with the clients and also with the team. So QA documentation it plays an crucial role in the testing process. See, in today's session, we are going to cover what are the different documentation as a part of QA process. So the SRS documentation is the resource that we are going to refer from which we are going to start the test plan documentation. So SRS is a software requirement specification. So it clearly mentions what is the application or an software is about, how the application should look like, what are the main functionalities it should include, how it should be helpful for the users, like it should be user friendly, user centric, and it should be reliable for the users for whom we are developing it. And in the test plan documentation, where our testing phase starts from here, when the SRS documentation is prepared, and this SRS documentation is mainly prepared by the business analyst or an product owner. From it also depends on the company and the team, this part of the documentation, how it will be prepared. It will be the meeting will be held between the client and the product owner and the business analyst. Sometimes the product owner and the business analyst are the single person who will be handling both. So during this meeting, everything about the application or on software will be discussed, and then here product owner or the business analyst will document this SRS documentation. Then this test plan documentation start, where we clearly define the scope of the application on a software, what is the approach we are following, the schedule, resources, and what are the different testing methods that we are following. Everything will be included, which I'll show soon after this slide with the help of use case documentation. And this test plan documentation clearly outlines overall testing strategy and the process. So the next comes with the test case documentation and test case execution report, where we clearly write the test cases. I have shown how we are writing these test cases with the different methods based on the application in the previous session. So this test cases will mainly this will be created by the testers, and here we cover all the edge cases in order to ensure the proper test coverage. And the next comes with the test case execution report, where we execute the written test cases what we have documented. And here the test cases will be after the execution, it will be pass or fail. And if they test has been failed, then we document it, and that documentation we call it as bug report. And we have a proper templates for each of this documentation how we are following, which I'll share it soon. And this RTM is about the requirement traceability matrix. This documentation we are mainly preparing in order to map the requirement with that of the test case. So you can get to see this. This all documentation mainly helps us to ensure the test coverage, how well we are ensuring the testing process for any of the software or an application. And the last comes with a test closure or a summary report. Test closure or a summary report, it mainly explains the total test cases that we have documented, how many are passed, how many are failed, and it always, like, this is not a single time test closure or summary report. It works on the every iteration. Since we are currently working in a agile methodology like all the IT companies, so it depends on the each sprint you can take. So for the each sprint, how many test cases you have worked, and that will be discussed with the client during the sprint review meeting. And this test closure report ensures all the pie chart or the graph based on the tools that you are using. If we are not using any of the tools, then it always like shows up. You can make some chart where you can show the detailed report of the test cases, how it looks like. So let's walk through of this use cases documentation with one of the project. So the project which I am showing here is about the Orange HRM. So this is an HR management demo project, which I will be showing. So the high level of this project overview look like this. And this is an human resource management application. So there are different modules, and on which platform they are developed, and what are this use that it has been like operating system it has been developed. So, and the different modules that are prepared, and this project overview will be created by the product owner or the business analyst on a high level, like how it should look like. So the list of modules that are present in the admin module are different, and for the employees it is different. So in the admin module, you can see here the list of listing the employees or the users, adding the employees, configuring the leaves, timesheet, recruitment, performance of the employees. ESS module is an employee self-service module where the employees can access the application for their applying the leaves and filling the time sheets like time tracker for their daily work, and their information for maintaining the personal details for any of the details that they have to update, for example, the email or the contact details or the address. And they can also do the tracking of their performance. So basically the module looks like this, like the HRM module and the ESSR module. So for the admin, it's a different, there are most of the access that will be having with the admin credentials, and for the user, it will be limited. So this PIM is a personal information management for the employee self-service, and they can access this leave management, time management, and their personal details and the performance. So moving forward, let's see with the how the FRS or the SRS documentation look like, which is created by the business analyst or the product owner. So this is mainly about how the application look like. So after this documentation has been created, when the project starts, so this is the main documentation which will help the developers, testers, and also the Scrum Master or a product owner to refer as a resource of the project to start working with. So it will be like a documentation with all the table of content, with the purpose of the document, what are the project overview, information architecture. So, so it looks like this. The purpose of this documentation is like it's a project plan, and it mainly about the HRM project. And this document, it includes 3 sections like project overview, information architecture, and a site design. And the overview is for the audience for whom we are targeting, like the employee self-service user, and for the admin as well. And what are the hardware and the hosting like platforms that this application is hosted on. And the information architecture, you can see how this application look like from the beginning of the phase, like the login page of the application. And this module, information module, how what is this information module about? And my info module, how it should be looking like for any of this employee. And if you can see the personal details, so for the personal details, all the information about the employee, it will be looking like this: full name, middle name, and the last name, employee ID, the license, and the license expiry date. You can update those details, and the nationality and everything, if there are some attachments. And you can see here on the left side contact details, emergency contact, dependents, immigration, job, salary, reports, and the qualification and the membership. And the personal details, you get these list of things to get update regarding the employee information. And for the photograph also, like you can upload the updated one. And going forward, you can see the contact details page, how it should look like in emergency contact. So this SRS or an FRS documentation is mainly about the how this application, what is this application about, what are the informations that are included, what are the different modules, different pages, what is the purpose of this application about. So you can see so many list of items. So this will be it will have a large number of details if you go through in detail. So I will explain like each how in going forward, how we are documenting the test cases and the test plan documentation, how it will look like. So this will be totally done by the business analyst or the product owner. So after this documentation, the testing process starts parallelly when the uh, development process starts. So the going forward, then this is a test plan documentation where you can see all the testing related process. So Orange HRM, this is the test plan documentation. So firstly, it begins with the product. What is this product name is like the application name. What is the version? So as this, sometimes there are chances that like the requirements are always getting updated or like changed. So we need to also update this particular documentation in order to ensure it is like transparent to all the team members. And it will make sure like the process of working is smoother with all the team. And this product version is 3.0, the last version, and the test plan template version is 1.0. And this was created by this person, and this is an initial draft, and what date it has been published. And this test plan documentation will have to be approved by this list of members. This depends on the list of members depends on your team and the company for whom we will be working with. So sometimes the company already have an template that they are following for the test plan documentation. So it will be usually in the docs or any of the tool that they are using with. And the next start with the table of content. What is the scope, objective? What are the reference documents? And what is the like schedule and areas that we are going to test? And we also look at what are different types of testing we are following, what is the environment that we are working with, and automation strategy if we are following any of that. And we also see here the schedules, testing strategy, and the resources. What are the risk and mitigations that might come across from all the team members side? We can put it here. And what are the criterias that they are present for entry exit? And then the start with the approval details, everything. So going forward, so we can see here the objective of this particular application is to define the scope of the testing, schedule, and the deliverables. And the reference document I have mentioned, like functional requirement specification, FRS or an SRS plays a major role as a part of reference document here. And the areas to be tested, what are the different modules that we are going to test as in this particular application. So this will happen during the sprint planning meeting. Sprint planning is one of the meeting that plays a major role in the scrum ceremonies. So during that meeting, like everything will be discussed from the developer side and the tester side, what we are going to test, what are the resources, schedule, and everything. So these are the list of modules that are present in the application. My info module, photograph, contact details, emergency emergency contact, dependents, immigration, job, salary, report to, qualification, and membership. So then going forward, we can see areas not required to test. So we specifically mention what are the list of modules that we are going to test and what we are not. And we also mention what is the high level test overview, like for example sanity, smoke, regression, and the other functional testing that we are going to cover, like integration test. Progression test is like an regression where we are doing the testing on the updated information. Like if some requirement has been updated in the FRS documentation, then we start testing the new requirement that has been updated. So all the edge cases that we are going to test, and the internationalization test and localization, this depends on the country based. For example, like now most of the applications are available based on their country, like language, and what are their region and the culture. Based on that, we can start using the application. And we also see regression testing, what are the different environments coverage here, like Internet Explorer for the which browser we are testing. And if we are following any automation strategy, like for example Selenium, Cypress, so we can that will be mentioned as a part of test plan documentation that we are working here. And testing timelines or the schedule, where we mention the iteration on the first build, when we are starting and when we are ending, and the different iterations that we are going to mention, like the whole timeline that we are going to take for building the software or an application. And testing strategy is like what type of testing that we are following if some existing functionality will be validated. So we have to mention like what we are following if some new functionalities has been updated, or we have to validate those. So through regression testing we are doing every time. So and the another one is about progression test that I have mentioned already. And we are also working on always fixing the defects that should be validated, and continuously working with regression tests. And what are the resources, like human resource, or who all are included as a part of testing team? Like for example, it is mentioned list of members here, that we have to mention who are included as a part of the team. Only for the testing team we can mention here. And for the software or the hardware resources, technical resources, you can see here. So on which server we are building this, and which operating system we can mention here. And what are the risk and mitigation of this application? So we can also mention if something like a resource is on vacation, like any of your team members, so what is the mitigation that we can work for this particular risk? So maintaining the backup resource for the particular person. And if there are any hardware failure during this testing time, then making a ready team also maintaining the backup for the hardware resource. So we have to ensure all of this, and this will be usually taken care of the test lead or the test manager, or your senior test engineer in the team based on the company. And next, we also consider the main points of entry and exit criteria. These are the conditions that should be met before starting the testing process and after ending the testing, before we conclude the testing process. So these are the entry and exit criteria. So this will be this plays a crucial role in this, because in order to ensure the testing process, we have to ensure like what are the precondition and the post condition for this testing process. So these are the major things that will be mentioned in the test plan documentation. So hope you all got some rough idea about what is test plan documentation. This is the first step of the testing process, how it looks like. So the next part comes with the test scenario creation. Yeah. Here you can see this on the high level. What is this test scenario is about? So if we are working on the login page, first we start from the login page. So we start defining what are these scenarios. So the first with user login, then user, after the user has been entered, then it will be a dashboard of this application for any of the application if you take. So for example, if you log into some Amazon account, so first we log in with the valid credentials. credential, then you enter it to the dashboard of the application. The same way, so since this is an employee self-service and HR management application, so it will be the same way. So user login, the scenario that we mentioned, and ESS user can view the personal details, the next scenario, and we also mention how many test cases we are following. So this number of columns and the template depends on the your team or the company that it will be following. There will be some standard templates that will be followed by the companies. So this test scenario document, this is an like Excel sheet. If companies are not following any of the tool, then we have to follow this Excel sheet. So it will be like a serial number or like test scenario ID, requirement ID, for which requirement ID. The requirement ID you can see here, I'll show in the FRS document. Yeah, SRS or FRS document. You can see here 1.1.1 is like this. The what is the purpose of the documentation? So it will be related to this particular ID of the test scenario. So 3.111. So the number it will relate to that particular related to user login. So you can relate it to like that. And how many test cases we are covering for the each scenario. And next we are going forward with the different cases like personal details, editing the personal details, and the user cannot edit the restricted fields in the personal details. And because this will be mainly accessed by the admin, so in that way we cannot edit that restricted personal details. For example, salary details, which will be having accessible to the admin only. Then the USS user can add a photograph, and they can view the contact details. So for each things, how many test cases? Firstly, we have to document what are the different scenarios for this particular with referring to the FRS or the SRS documentation. Then we can have a look. It will be easy for us to get an idea like how many test cases we are covering for the each test case. So after this test scenario documentation, and we can get reviewed by the test manager or the test lead. So then we can start with the next test case documentation. Here also we follow some template, which most of the columns are mandatory in order to ensure the concise and clear test case documentation. So firstly, we begin with test case ID, then the project or the module name, and the requirement ID. And here we start with the scenario for which test scenario we are working on this, and the test case title, test case description, which is the same. So you can see here like ESSR user login. And what is this test case about? Verifying the login with valid ESS username and valid password. So we are firstly validating with a valid username and valid password. And we need to ensure the clear test steps are written for this test case. Firstly, we begin with launching the browser, opening the URL with providing the proper URL of this particular application. And the next with providing the valid ESS username, valid user password, and the clicking on the login button. So next is about the what are these credentials. Like test data is the major part where we are playing with the execution of the each test case. So we cover all the positive, negative, and the empty credentials here in the login functionality. So here is the username and the password that we need to provide. For testing, we always use some testing related test data credentials, not with the we also check with the proper one when we are doing the testing. And in the expected result, we have to make sure we are writing this. So when we are executing this particular test case, what is the result about? So in the test execution report, we can ensure like what is the actual result. But in the expected result, if you are login with valid credentials, so we have to mention login successful for the ESS user. It should log into the application successfully, and ESS user should see the My Info page after login to the successful. And what is the another column about actual result and the status, like pass or fail of this particular test case. So firstly, we consider this particular test case, then we can relate it it going forward. So these are the different test cases that it has been covered here for the different modules, for the user login, for the valid and 4 cases that I have mentioned, and for viewing the personal details, for editing the personal details, and some restricted fields in the personal details, and adding a photograph, viewing the contact details, and editing the contact details. So I was also mentioning about the RTM report, which is about mapping the requirements with the test case. So the first requirement which we mentioned, like 3.1.1, is like these are the test cases that we are mapping for this particular requirement ID. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7 cases we are covering for the one of this requirement. You can see all the requirement IDs are same. So we are covering for this requirement ID so many test cases. And the next one, for the next requirement ID for 3.1.2, we are covering this test case. So this will ensure us proper test coverage, like it will add a more weightage for our test coverage, ensuring like for each requirement we are covering so much of so many test scenarios, so many test cases, and we have executed so many test cases and also test summary report. So let's see next about the test execution report. So this is an example how our test execution report looks like. All the columns which are mentioned in the test case are the same columns which will be mentioned in the test execution report. So we can see here test case ID for the MINE4001, and you can see which is the scenario, test case title, test steps, and test data, and expected result, and the actual result. So actual result, we have to mention if the test case has been failed. We have to first like provide, we have to log into the particular application, we have to provide the credentials, and we have to ensure this expected result should be matching. So when we are checking that, so this dashboard is displayed after the login is successful instead of the my info page. So when we are logging to the application, dashboard is visible, but it is not directing directly to the my info module. So this is the case that is happening when we are actually testing the application. So we need to connect with the client and also with the project manager. So what it should look like when the application has been already mentioned in all the details in the FRS documentation. We have to discuss with the product owner, and we have to connect with the developer as well, since tester and developers are continuously working together for any of these issues that are related to test cases. We are connecting with the developers first, and then if the issue is not what they say, if it is not proper, then we are connecting with the project manager and the client related to the particular issue. If this issue has been it will be fixable, then the developer will fix the issue, and then we start retesting of this application after the issue has been retested. So and then the other invalid credentials, so it should not allow us to log into the application. So this has been passed. So the same way you can check, so it will be green and red for the pass and fail test cases, and the sum of the test cases you can put like partially passed, so that they are not completely passed. You can some of these steps has been followed, and the other the end result is not matching. Actually, in that case, you can put it as a fail, and you can connect with the developer and discuss regarding the particular issue to fix this issue. And in the execution, you can always add one more column as a part of the work, like test screenshot, where you can, it clearly shows the developer for the failed test cases, how how this test cases is looking like. So the next is about the bug report. Bug report is the another documentation that the testers are documenting for the failed test cases. So here also we follow the template if we are not using any of the tools. So there are some tools available as a part of test management like Trello, Jira Zephyr plugin, and Azure. So if we are not following those tools, then we are working in the Excel sheet the same way, like we are following some templates. Otherwise, in the tools, it's already available, like bug ID will be created automatically by the tool. And we have to ensure the name for this particular bug, which is like bug title or the bug description you can consider here. And we have to ensure for which module this has been created for the particular bug. So when you clearly mention all this bug in detail, so it will be easy for the developer to go through what is this bug about, where we are ensuring the particular issue. And here this steps to replicate this bug, we have to ensure like in detail how this bug has to be reproduced. And first we begin with the launching the browser, opening the URL, providing the valid credential, and clicking on the login button. And here is the screenshot how it looks like when they have logged in with the valid credentials. And we'll also mention the severity priority. It depends on the number of the columns how we are planning. So this will ensure the developer how serious is this particular issue, and from whom this has been reported, and for whom we are assigning to. The assigning to will be always to the developer. So we are assigning this particular issue to the this particular person. And the development team, they can also make a listing if they have accepted this issue. Sometimes there are chances through the bug life cycle you can understand whether this bug will be duplicate, whether this bug is valid, deferred, or like after this issue has been cleared, then it should be resolved, or it is, if it is they are working in process, they are in progress. So it will be like this. And the resolution, it has been accepted for this particular bug, and the status is they are working on this progress particular. If it has been fixed, then it will be like closed, and if it is not fixed, it will be like a open issue. So this is the bug report, how the tabular columns look like, and it will be like yeah, in the beginning of the module, there will be large number of the bugs will be encountered by the testers, and each test case, each bug will be encountered to like all the like developers who are working with this, and they will be resolving this issue, and testers will start retesting this particular applications continuously. And so yeah, this is the documentation that we had gone through for the use case of this documentation. So let's see like next going forward, how our test execution report looks if we are using like Jira or some test management tool. So this test execution report mainly summarizes all the testing efforts, including the status of the individual test and the overall quality of the software under test. So if we are working in an Scrum, like Agile Scrum, then we always show our test summary or the test closure report, like how many test cases we have worked and how many are passed, how many are failed, and how many are in progress. And we are working on the retesting of this particular fixed bugs. So it will be in like something like this bars, like green shows the passed test case, red color shows the failed, and the blue is in process, and the yellow is in the retesting phase. So you can see all the list of the test, or what are the test cases that we are working with, and what is the status, and what are the components like for which module we are working with, and what are the requirements for which this particular test case has been related to, what are these executions, and what are past executions for this particular test case, how many, like if it is passed or failed, and semi of the test case has been passed and failed. It looks like this. So this is the test summary report. This is a small example that I have taken, which is related to another example. So this test closure or summary report, which includes all the how many test cases we have planned here and executed. This is similar to the test execution report, but this shows the overall test summary report of the particular iteration, not with any of these modules. This will summarize the particular iteration of the execution. So you can see total 80 were planned and 75 were executed, and in that, like 70 were passed and 5 were not passed. So in the pie chart you can analyze this result, and you can discuss clearly with the clients, showing that this many has been passed and we are working on the failed test cases. And in this particular, like in the closed issues, what are the critical issues, major issues that we have worked, medium issues, cosmetic are the less prioritized one, and totally 60 we have worked. And what are the other 5 issues that have been failed, we have kept it open, and we are working on the other 5 issues with integrating with the development team. And here also you can see another example where in the registration different modules that in that how many were like based on the priority severity, we have considered the particular issues like critical, major, medium, cosmetic, and the total issues that we have covered. So now this was all about the test documentation, how we have seen in the use case. Let's see now what are the best practices for creating this document creation. So it's always recommended, and most of the companies follow this centralized repository in the GitHub, for example. And this centralized repositories will be mainly the DevOps engineers will be handling this repositories, and they will keep all the documents and their work in the centralized repository, which will be accessible easily for all the team members. So this will also help the company and for the software team in order to ensure the proper following of some rules and regulations for accessing some the documents. And it's always recommended that they use some collaboration tools for the team members in order to discuss or communicate easily within the team. And this is always most of the companies, they are following this, and to promote their teamwork and the real-time editing. And it's always recommended to follow some standard templates. If they are not following some tools for the test management, then they follow the standard templates. So this will help in consistent across all the team, and they follow, like all the team members, all the testers can follow some template. So it is easily understandable by the development team when they are working with a particular issues or the information. So these are the best practices for creating the document creation. And why this plays a major role as a high quality test documents, because it helps in understanding for the team members to be clear, concise language. When you make this documentation as clear, concise, so it will help understand your team regarding the particular issue, to work on the fixing the bug or like retesting of the particular issue, and ensuring like this will ensure in understanding all the stakeholders and within the team as well. And it should be short and to the point, and in order to avoid any uh, misunderstanding, or like so that it is clearly understandable with all the team members. And of it focus on the relevant details, so it will highlight the procedure, what are the result and the status. And this will include all the information related to testing process, providing the actionable insights of the particular issues that we are documenting with. So these are the major things why we are making it clear or comprehensive documentation in order to ensure and understand within the team members. Let's see what are the maintenance and the updates that can be seen when we are working as a part of testing, because it's always we see that there are some updates, there are some changes always happening when we are working in the building the software, because clients can come up with a change at any time. So this should be maintained properly, like we have to update the update the document regularly. So the refreshed document update after the changes, and it will help adapt to the new requirement of the features for the team. And this will help in scheduling the routine reviews, ensuring the routine reviews helps us for the accuracy and the relevance, and conducting the periodic checks for the consistency. And the last one is about archiving the absolute documents, which is about like removing the outdated information and maintaining the clarity and reducing the clutter within the team. So it's always better, like when there are change in the requirements, we are discussing, we are reviewing it, we are updating the information, we are updating the changes. This will help the development team and the testing team in order to update their changes into their work regularly. So the last, coming to the conclusion part from the session and this particular QA essential test documentation, we can understand that. So we have covered that this test documentation plays a major role in organizing this documentation, and it should be clearly deliverables. All this documentation should be clear and concise, and by following the best practices, we ensure like proper test coverage has been maintained, and to ensure all the from the beginning of the testing phase to the conclusion of the testing phase. So it's always better we follow some test strategies, our best practices that are followed in the new trending technologies and the IT companies that we are working with. So this will help us to ensure to keep updated and ensure the proper test documentation is followed. So yeah, so let me know if there are any questions. Hope you got some insights on QA documentation, and if you have already learned, then this will be a good for you to refresh the knowledge. Thank you. So if you didn't understand anywhere, if you have any doubts, so let me know so that I can clarify.
Hi, Pooja. Prajakta this side.
Hi, Prajakta.
Yeah, it was a really good presentation, but I have a small doubt. If you can quickly summarize, if I'm wrong, you can correct me.
Mm,
We learned use cases, we learn SRS document, we learn test scenario and test plan. So use case is the first document which we receive from the product owner or BA. Am I
yeah,
correct?
yes.
So here we can get only the overview, what all things we need to cover up. Then in SRS document, it will be more deep.
Yeah, I think your voice is breaking for me, but I understood like you are asking the SRS documentation is then resource, it acts as a resource for all the testing process and development process for us. So when you are working as a tester or developer, so that SRS documentation will give a clear detail about the what is the software and the application about, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we can start working with this testing process referring to this SRS documentation. So we plan from test plan documentation. So testing process start from test plan documentation when the SRS documentation has been completely developed or documented in the beginning.
Okay, so basically, first we will receive use case. From that reference, we are preparing SRS. From SRS, we are preparing the
We are
test plan.
we are not preparing SRS, like it will be from the business analyst or a
Mm.
product owner
Yeah.
that will be prepared. As a tester, we are working from the test plan documentation.
So test plan also we will receive from the that I mean test plan who will prepare.
It will be prepared by the testers. For example,
Okay.
if it in multi level company, then if there are test leads or test managers, they will be preparing the test plan documentation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in small scale industry or like startup companies, then the like regular testers will be preparing, and they will be get reviewed by the within the team first, then with the product management like a scrum master, and the not with a scrum master but product manager or the product owner like the business analyst. They will review it because they have to go through all the resources what they are needed for the testing process, who are included, everything will be referred in that.
Okay. Okay. All right. And by any case, do you know the document of understanding DOU? Is it the same like test plan or SRS document?
Uh, could you repeat what you mentioned?
DOU, document of understanding. Is it same as the SRS document?
Mostly it is the same, but I don't have much idea on DOU.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that much only. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So if there are any doubts from anyone's side.
It was very nice session. We are well presented and explained.
Yeah.
It was
Thank
very
you.
good about all the documentation, test cases. It was very nice presentation, Pooja. It was
Thank you,
thorough
guys.
explanation.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So if we don't have any doubts, then we can wind up this session. If anyone needs some recording, then please contact me through LinkedIn so we can connect there. Connect the video recording. Yeah, sure. I'll share it. Shobha.
Yeah, sorry, Shobha. I forgot. Today I will send. I'm very
Okay,
sorry.
no problem. It's
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
I
I'll share my LinkedIn soon.
completely skipped
Yeah.
from my mind.
Okay, I'll connect it then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Good day.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you, Pooja.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.